Just days after we crowned a new champion, we have a new superstar reportedly traded to team up with LeBron James on the Lakers. Welcome to Game Time. Chris Miles here with 3D. Anthony Davis traded for Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, 3 first-round picks, and
that's it?
Possibly me and you.
That's it?
I think
Not
we could be on the way.
Oh, my goodness. Well, Coach, or should I say Coach Griffin. Mr. Griffin has come into New Orleans and is taking over right away and is putting his stamp and not wasting any time. So we knew this was part of the conversation with Anthony Davis. You know, his agency said, no matter what you guys do, we're only going to be for a year. Now this is the trade we know was going to happen, be in L.A., and now he's talking about he's willing to sign an extension once this comes official.
ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, he's the one that broke the story, and also he has this breakdown on Twitter as well. The expectations of Anthony Davis trade will be completed on July 6th. League sources tell Bobby Marks and Woj, assuming Davis declines to void $4 million trade bonus. This leaves the Lakers with $23.7 in cap space. This is a chance that could be amended to July 30th, but it's still the 6th for now. The Pelicans and Lakers waited until July 30th to complete the trade. The Lakers could have had $32.5 in cap space, enough to pursue a max-level free agent. By waiting 30 days, Lakers would be acting like a team over the cap and thus allowed to use the 4th overall pick in the draft as salary as well. Very complicated, but let's try to make it a little simpler for other people. These are the 5 players that the Lakers have under contract, okay? Right. And they don't have a lot of money to spend to bring guys in. So try to help us out. Who should be their top targets as their cash structure? Well,
I think as Rob Pelinka sits down and try to finish out this roster, you have to realize this is an older LeBron James. So how do you figure out, is it a Jimmy Butler type or is it Chris Middleton as far as another quote-unquote max guy or close to being max? Can those guys, should I say, buy into the bait of coming to play with LeBron and AD and trying to win now? On the flip side of that, you need shooting. So if you're point guard and off guard, if they're not guys that can knock down shots, play defense on the perimeter, because LeBron James, at this point in his career, he's going to play more forward now. Let's just go ahead and call it with LeBron. We love you to death. You're not that run-down block shot guy we saw early in your career. You need more athletic guys on the perimeter to play that good defense. Same thing with Anthony Davis. You look at the Western Conference, there's not a lot of big guys out there to bang up against maybe the Joker in Denver. So that being said, how do you have enough floor spacers on the floor so LeBron has enough room to operate, so AD has enough room to operate? Otherwise, the lane will be shrunk in a little bit now. There's no space and not time, enough room for guys to operate and do what they do best. So make sure you have defenders and make sure you have guys that can knock down shots.
So J.J. Redick?
J.J. Redick works. He works because he's proven out the last couple of years he plays the type of D you need on the perimeter, and we of course know J.J. means just jumpers. Now the question is, does Philadelphia say, hey, J.J., we don't want you to leave. You've done great things for us the last couple of years. You've been that perfect veteran in the locker room. But we are talking about LeBron James now. LeBron James, are you picking up the phone with Rob Pelinka and saying, hey, guys, I have 2 really, really good years left, maybe 3. We're going for it now. Maybe that entices, the J.J. Redicks of the world to go west and get away from the East.
Well, 2 names you haven't mentioned that they've been everywhere as far as rumors are concerned, Kyrie Irving and Kemba Walker. What about those 2 guys?
Well, Kyrie obviously rings the bell right away because he's proven, obviously being with LeBron James, they've already won a championship in Cleveland. My question for that is Kyrie ready to come in and be second, now probably third fiddle? And that's one of the things that Kyrie's had to deal with the last couple of years, that you want to be the man? Well, being a man is a big cost on being a man. There's a lot of things you have to do on a daily basis before you even get to the point of being on the floor on a nightly basis. Kemba Walker, he would fit in nicely because now you can put the ball in his hands. LeBron James has his 4 or 5 minute rest off the floor. He and Anthony Davis in the pick and roll situation, that sounds pretty good because now if you trap it, you're giving the ball to AD, he's one-on-one on the weak side of the floor, now he's attacking the defense. So all those names fit, but you still have to go deeper into that roster because you tweak an ankle, you tweak a knee. Is your bench deep enough to hold down the fort as you get ready for a playoff push?
Yeah, and for those 2 guys, you need that July 30th date. That's when they need the trade.
Chris, the bottom line is now any move that the Lakers make, it's all about going as deep as possible in the playoffs. We know about the Warriors being injured. LeBron James is getting older. What pieces make sense to win now? Not next year, not the year after next, about winning now.
Okay, so let's say they strike out on a situation with Kemba Walker, Kyrie Irving. Right. Kyle Kuzma is still there. Yes. So when we look at Anthony Davis and LeBron James, we know who they are. Is Kyle Kuzma good enough to be that third scorer, that third guy that we often hear about on championship caliber teams.
On paper today, most people love Kyle Kuzma. Obviously, the fans in LA yelling Kuz, they love Kuzma. One thing he's shown us now in a short couple years, he doesn't need a lot of plays called for him. He runs the floor. He can guard multiple positions. So Kyle Kuzma now will be the third fiddle until you figure out who that big name is going to come in to help out. But to say he can fit in any offense, can he get out in transition? Yes. Can he guard? Yes. Can he rebound the basketball in traffic? Yes. So he checks all those boxes. But once again, as you're tweaking your lineup, the key to it is when LeBron James has his rest, can Kyle Kuzma mix in well with AD, or you bring some other shooters in that mix out well because you want LeBron to have his normal rest so he's strong and ready to go in that fourth quarter push? Certainly
a lot of questions surrounding those Lakers now as
but they're having fun now, though.
How are they going to fill out that roster, right? Seems like it's fun. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, way to start it. We have a lot of questions that will be answered starting at 3 on June 30th. Free Agency Fevers gets you ready for all the breaking news when teams can start agreeing to terms with players. And Kawhi Leonard is one of the top targets in free agency. We'll check in with the champion Raptors next on Game Time.
We the North, y'all champions now.
Well, what happens in Vegas ends up becoming a topic on this show. After clinching the title in Oakland, Raptors players made a pit stop in Vegas before returning north of the wall. Speaking of which, here is Nick Nurse at the Toronto airport being greeted by fans on Saturday night. The parade is on Monday. Let's hear from those newest NBA champs.
I'm excited. I'm super excited. It's phenomenal. I mean, you guys probably get it. I mean, I stopped at one place last night on the way home last night, and the whole place went crazy when I walked in the door, right? And it's awesome. It's exciting. The people waiting at the airport last night. I don't know. I'm excited to see what it's going to be like tomorrow. I think again, it's there's a lot of specialness to it because the first one and the way the Canadians went about this and how much they supported the teams. I mean, it makes me smile every time when the national anthems were awesome, and you could see it almost on the Golden State coaches and players that our whole crowd was singing.
It's just great to be back. This has become my second home for me and my family, obviously. So just to be back here, and I know we went and did our thing and have fun and everything, but just good to be back and, looking forward to the parade and just enjoying it with the fans. Luckily the streets calmed down a little bit since we won, so we didn't have to go through that. But, just looking forward to enjoying this moment with the city and with the people here who've been itching for this for so long to finally be able to deliver is pretty special.
Obviously, winning is great. It feels amazing. But I think the journey, I think we've been through so much that I'm sure that whatever I've learned right now is going to stay with me for the rest of my life. Like the adversity, like how hard it is, and sometimes just feeling like you're the best in the world and then feeling like you're the worst, the next day is crazy. And it's definitely something that it will stay with me for the rest of my life.
The mission accomplished for Kawhi and company. Now comes the hard part after the celebration. What does the future hold for Kawhi and Masai? So many rumors surrounding those two guys who brought City of Toronto a championship. What do you know about this?
Which angle am I going to go with first?
Let's go with Masai.
Masai, well, my sources say that the Washington Wizards are throwing the kitchen sink at Masai Ujiri, that they're willing to give him full keys to the car, to the house, to the yacht, to come in and try to save this franchise and get them going in the right direction. Obviously, we know about John Wall's contract, his injuries, where will he be coming in the beginning of the season? Probably not ready to go. Bradley Beal, probably the best asset on that franchise right now. You may want to dangle, maybe. Keyword is maybe, dangle to see what you get for him if you want to do a full reset. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself right now because Masai hasn't accepted to go there. But that's how the conversation is going to go for the next, 2 weeks? If you can make something done, but hold on, stay with me now. Is it next 2 weeks, or are you trying to get done by next Thursday before the draft? So that's why these conversations will speed up here in the next couple of days, Chris, to figure out how serious Masai is going to take on the opportunity and how serious does Mr. Tannenbaum in Toronto want to keep Masai and things there to keep him there and keep him happy. Once that happens, then you deal with Kawhi Leonard. But if Masai were to leave, I think Toronto would be in a pickle.
So, again, why would Masai leave if he just won a championship in Toronto? Seems like a great situation for him.
I agree with you, Chris. I think it is a great situation. You've done all the right things of making Kawhi happy as players, as a country, making him feel this is the place to be for the rest of his career. But last time I checked, this is the business of basketball. So when one owner sees another guy that's come into Toronto and pretty much changed their culture in 6 years, he's saying, well, maybe I can go get this guy. His contract may be coming up. Let's see what availability is there. And I think that's what Ted Leonsis and the Washington Wizards are doing. But that scene right there, to your point, Chris, I'd be hard to leave We the North. I'd have to sit down with Mr. Tannenbaum and say, let's figure this out.
So
this is incredible. Jurassic Park throughout the whole country was phenomenal, Chris. I mean, you had provinces 2 and 3 and 4 hours away having 20,000 people sit in front of screens and watch his team. I agree with you. I wouldn't want to leave either. But this is business we're talking about, and that's why Masai and Kawhi will sit down and figure out when everything's laying on the table, what's the best decision to make.
Are their futures tied together? Could we see one stay, one go, or if both leave, they're both gone?
Great question. My gut feeling today is they're connected together because Masai made the toughest move of going after Kawhi, knowing that he was on a one-year deal and there was no guarantee he would come back. He has done all the right things to make Kawhi feel happy. You win a championship. Now you figure out the Marcus Alls and the Kyle Lowrys. How do you keep the team together? You got to pay Spicy P. He's a young guy and needs to get his payday. So all those type of conversations will come up in the next few days. But the biggest one is, how do you make Masai happy first? And I think it trickles down.
Let's not rain on their parade because that doesn't happen until Monday. Full coverage right here on NBA TV of the Raptors Victory Parade. That's at 10:30.
Crazy.
Absolutely. Continuing with the theme of Canadians, R.J. Barrett reps his home country loud and proud. He sits down with Caron Butler next and talks about his connection with the reigning champs. Get excited. The NBA draft is just days away.
I remember those
Dreams
days.
coming true.
Yes, indeed.
Well, Bleacher Report has Duke product R.J. Barrett going 3rd overall to the New York Knicks. Caron Butler caught up with R.J. ahead of Thursday's draft.
Barrett! For 3, yes. R.J. Barrett so consistent all season. Barrett with a spin and a finish. Barrett!
Tell me all about that movement right there that you got on the shirt.
I never forget, where I came from, and I'm a proud Canadian, so I just rep it.
Say I'm DeMarcus Cousins,
all right,
and I'm coming up on the pick right here.
Yeah.
How are you gonna attack him?
First, he's probably not gonna try to pressure me. So
why wouldn't he do that?
I'm gonna go right by.
Okay.
Got the ball here. If nothing's there, I just go.
I want to touch on, your upbringing. Having a father that played professionally in the Canadian Association. Like, what was that experience like?
Moved a lot when I was younger. My dad would go from, team to team in Europe, and then kind of settled in around 9 or 10 back in Canada. So my dad, he really helped me. I was always around the game, whether it was him playing overseas or, him being the general manager. So I would get in to go watch, the Canadian teams practice and stuff. So I was just always around it.
Here's Nash, makes a 3. Oh, what a shot by Nash!
Your godfather is the best Canadian player ever to play the game of basketball, Steve Nash. What are those conversations like?
I call him Uncle Steve. Like, he bought me my first crib when I was a baby and stuff like that.
Wow.
So, yeah, he's been there for me my whole life. Uncle Steve and I, we trained and played one-on-one a couple years ago. And, he was retired by then. So I was like, maybe I could beat him. Nah, he was good. I did not know that he was that good.
The guy's going to show. What would you do in that situation?
So if he shows, I just bounce out and I go before my defender has time to get back in front of me.
Okay, so let's go through that in real time. What are you working on to put the world on notice?
Staying in attack mode first. knowing how to attack and when to attack it, whether it's a pull-up three or, a sidestep jumper, just, different things like that add more to my package, so I'm harder to guard.
You're being compared to Chris Middleton a lot, and that's not a bad comparison. But who would you compare your game to the most?
Growing up, I love LeBron James, James Harden. Those are my two favorite players. I would just try to pick little things from both their games.
I feel like a resurgence of Canadian basketball, from Wiggins to Tristan Thompson to Murray, so many more, and now yourself. What is that whole movement about, and what does it mean to you?
Corey Joseph and Tristan Thompson getting into the league, and then I remember me and my friends, we were always watching them growing up and say, yeah, that's going to be us one day. Those guys really made Canada believe that we can do it, and now more and more kids are getting into the NBA.
Help! Help! Help!
Cash, what does this name mean, and what does it mean to Canadian basketball and everything? Drake.
Drake means a lot. Drake really put Toronto on the map, and you see everything that he's doing with the Raptors and stuff. He loves his country, loves his city, and we love him back.
There's a new NBA champion, and it's a team from Toronto, Canada. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
How does it feel just being a Canadian?
It was great. I was screaming and cheering the whole time when they were playing, and it's definitely great for Canada and for the young kids to see that, we're doing something with basketball.
What would you say to any doubter that would question, can he be the face of an organization, and are you equipped to handle that pressure?
I'm going to work for it. Been working for it my whole life. Been put in situations where I've had to be the guy, and I've had a lot of success. So, you don't have to believe in me. I'm going to prove it to you.
Oh, there's some great nuggets in there, Caron Butler on the interview. RJ spent his adolescence around professional basketball. I think that's the key nugget. Do you feel like going into this draft, looking at the other top picks, that he's the most NBA ready to deal with the pressure that comes with being a top pick in the draft?
Chris, the pressure, how to be professional, to have a dad that played and been in the front office, to hear him say he called Steve Nash Uncle Steve, to respect that he got from his Uncle Steve playing one-on-one, being retired, covering this finals, Chris, hearing, Canadian kids saying, Mom, Dad, thank you, I don't have to play hockey no more, I can play basketball. This is real. This is really real, and it goes back to the 92 Dream Team, Vince Carter being with the Raptors, now all this winning, Andrew Wiggins. So all these young kids now have watched these guys come from Canadian roots, play basketball. You got Jamal Murray down in Denver who's playing really, really good basketball with the Joker. So to hear, RJ Barrett say that, I believe him. I believe he's ready. The size is there, and being a lefty. If the ball is in his hands, being able to attack, kind of like James Harden does in Houston, you're just not used to guarding lefties on a daily basis. That is still an advantage. So I like what I see so far, and I believe that he's going to come in and work hard. Now let's see what happens.
It worked in college. He led the ACC in scoring, actually averaged a fraction of a point more than Zion Williamson, who we've heard so much about. Do you think RJ being listed as a third pick in most mock drafts because he's being overshadowed by his own teammate at Duke and Zion?
No, Zion, he has obviously that freak of nature, so we know that. So when you turn the page from 2 on down, you're trying to figure out what do I have now and how much do I believe in him coming in and changing our culture or being the foundation for the future. And I think RJ can be one of those future type guys, so you build around him. And then also, too, when you bring in veterans, you want the right veteran around this young man to continue his growth in the right direction.
Certainly, RJ Barrett, a phenomenal talent.
Yeah, I like what I see.
The lucky lefty, and he leaves it, right?
He
As
leaves
a jumper.
The NBA range obviously needs to work on a little bit, but right now he can shoot the ball good enough.
See where he ends up on Thursday.
Hear the free stuff.
Kayla McBride, 22 points. She's also amongst your league leaders in scoring in the WNBA at 6th at 17 points per game. Okay, let's take another look at free agency around the NBA. Anthony Davis, of course, we led the show, traded to the Lakers. KD injured, Clay injured. How do you see the West shaping up as we enter free agency in the draft?
As GMs try to figure out to get their roster together, they're going to look and say it's wide open in the West. So I look at Denver. They should be pretty good. Portland, get Nurkic back healthy. What is Houston going to do? Utah, they'll probably be tight. And OKC will probably be tight. So it's wide open now with KD and Clay being injured. So the Wild Wild West is ready to go.
NBA draft on Thursday, free agency fever on June 30th. I think we're going to be busy the next couple of weeks.
Yes, we are. I can't wait. The fever. Ooh, I'm getting the fever already.
You just watched some 3D TV. I'm Chris Miles. Thanks for kicking it with us.
Ooh.